That was false.
So, the first half of Vayeshev, well, really the whole story, we should remember that in Breshit, essentially, if you've divided up the Sefer, for the purposes of division of the book, you could argue that there are 4 avot in the book, which would be Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and Yosef. Really, to be fair, Avram, Yaakov, and Yosef get a lot more time than Yitzchak. Yitzchak gets virtually none. So Vayeshev opens with the favoritism of Yosef, and then, obviously, the drama after that, the dreams, the sale, etc. Okay, we're going to have to do some words. Let's see if you remember this one.
Sure.
Who sold Yosef? Let's see if you remember this. Good, so you don't remember it. So let's good, so let's be very careful. Who sold?
Oh, the what's it called? The middle name.
Oh, very good. So now.
Oh, I thought they were sold to the.
Oh, good. So let's do this. Good, because you remember it. You have to do this once a year because you didn't remember it. But I'm glad that once I brought it up, you remembered it. Okay, so what happens?
Actually,
let's tell the story. So first of all, what?
I noticed it while I was reading.
Good. So the story starts off ominously. How do we know that that things are bad are going to happen before we even get there? Because we have a little bit of Akedah language right at the beginning when Yaakov sends him down, and he says, right? That's never a good thing, right? In Breshit, it's not a neutral thing at any rate. So he looks for his brothers, and here's what you get. So they see him from far before he even gets close. So they begin planning. They're filled with plots to kill him. Look, the dreamer is coming. So you say, let us throw him into the pit, and let us say that an animal devoured him, and let's see what happens to his dreams. So at this point, what do we know? They intend on killing him. Vayishma Reuven vayatzileu mi'adam vayomer lanu lo nakenu nafesh. And Reuven hears them. He saves Yosef from their hands, and he says, "Let us not kill a soul." Now, is this the extent of Reuven's speech?
Probably not, no.
Yes.
No. How do we know it's not the extent of his speech?
I'm going to guess because he keeps talking.
No.
Oh.
Because there's a pause.
Well, that's part of it, but because we find out later on when Yosef starts punishing them that Reuven tells them, you didn't listen to me. Right? You didn't listen to me when Yosef was crying, and I told you not to do anything, meaning there was more of a negotiation. Here he just says, don't murder him, but there seems to have been an actual... Right. This is also, we talked about this last year, maybe we'll expel it out a bit more, maybe tomorrow, is the fact that in Vayeshev, do we hear that Yosef cries? No, we only find out that he cried in a flashback later on, and that's a very interesting question. Why do we only learn about it in a flashback later on? But okay. They clearly intend to kill him, and Reuven convinces them not to. Vayomer alehem Reuven, al tishpichu dam. Yes, you have a double speech, right? Which is also the indication. Later on, when we find out that Reuven said more, the hint to that is here. The double speaking of Reuven is that he keeps talking, which means that, right? It sounds like he said lo nakanu nafesh. They didn't quite listen to him, and he starts negotiating, right? And there may be more of a conversation. We find out what the conversation was later. So vayomer alehem Reuven al tishpichu dam ashlichoto al labor hazeh asher bamidbar v'yad al tishlichu vo l'man etziloto mi'adam lashivo el aviv. So he said, fine, send him to the pit. He doesn't tell them that this is to save him. The Pesukim tell us that the reason that he does this is to eventually save him and bring him back to his father. So when Yosef comes, they strip him of his special cloak and his special cloak, and they throw him into the pit, and there is no water. This is also the most depressing thing in the world. They sit down to eat. And then they see the Ishmaelim selling all types of spices on their way to Egypt.
What do you
Yes.
say about people after they do something bad sitting to eat?
Well, it's just
They
about
do it
Sanhedrin,
here.
and they're not-
They do it in Shushan.
I mean, it tends to show that you don't really care, right? That not only
Isn't
do
that
something bad,
Sanhedrin's not allowed to eat.
well, Sanhedrin can't eat, right? Because that's the point. Is eating is celebratory. It's normal life, right? When you're doing something egregious, it's not just that you shouldn't. Life shouldn't be normal, right? But here life is totally normal. Now, Vayomer Yehuda Lachav, Ma betza ki narog et achinu v'chisinu et damo. So Yehuda says, why should we do this? What benefit will we get if we kill our brother and cover his blood?
Hey, it sounds to me like
So
Yehuda
let
says-
us sell him. So what do we know until this point?
Yehuda says they'll sell.
They're planning it.
They're planning to sell him. Now this is the key. The next pasuk. Vayavru anashim midyanim socharim. Midianite traders pass by. Vayimshechu vayalu et Yosef min Habor. Vayimkeru et Yosef leishmaelim be'esrim kasev. Vayaviu et Yosef mitzrayma. What's the problem? Why is this? What is the ambiguity here?
Who took him out of the pit and sold him?
Correct. That it says, right? What's the simplest shot?
Midianites.
Correct. Right? The Midianites, because otherwise what is going on? Right? Why do you tell me about the Midianites if they're sold to the
Right.
Yishmaelim? Right? If the brothers sold them to the Yishmaelim, then what is going on? So the Rashbam says, "Bitoch sheyoshvim le'echol lechem, u'rechokim ha'yuktzah min habor levilti echol al adam, mamtinu hayu l'shmeelim shira'u." Right? They were waiting. They were eating, so they wouldn't be ochel al adam. Right? Okay, fine. V'kodem shabo yishmeelim avru anashim midyanim achirim derech sham. And before they managed to get back, the Midiani traders took Yosef out and sold him to Yishmaelim.
So what do the brothers get from this?
Nothing.
But isn't the whole thing that the brothers got?
They meant to sell him.
They wanted to.
The Rashbam's argument is they meant to sell him, but they never got around to it.
But doesn't someone say that they all got like a certain amount of shoes or something?
Ah, good. So Usher says, well, so where did Chazal get the notion that, in fact, they sold them for shoes?
I never heard that.
Yes, you did. Zev, don't you dare.
You heard
Right,
it.
Zev, where'd you hear about it?
At Rabbi Ziring's KosherTube.
Nope, not in the Parshir. Also in the Parshir, but more importantly, when we learned Amos together,
Yes.
Right? Which is the Haftorah,
Yes.
right? Ko amar Adonai al shlosha pishei Yisrael va'arba lo ashivenu al mecharam ba'kesev tzadik ve'evyon ba'avur na'alayim. Right? So Chazal understand that pasuk to mean that they sold the poor person for shoes, and they read that about Yosef and his brothers. But that is a midrash on it, because what is the right? Right? That's not the simple pshat there, right? The context of Amos is the Jews all taking advantage of the poor and squeezing all the money that they can out of the poor. But that's where they get it from. But the Rashbam argues, now, you could argue that the way you read this is that they planned on selling him, and they did, and that's who the pronoun is, that they actually managed to sell him.
Right.
What's the Midyanim for?
Well, that's the problem that the Rashbam is picking up on, right, and saying, right, so then you'd say the Jews sold them to the Midyanim, right, meaning they were about to sell them to Yishmaelim, the Midyanim came back by, so the brothers pulled him out, sold him to Midyan, and the Midyan sold him to Yishmael.
Makes sense.
Right? The Rashbam just says, no, the reason you hear about the Midyanim here is because they were the ones who sold Yosef, and they never got around to it.
Right.
Now, besides for the close read of the Pasuk, what drives the Rashbam's read? Besides for the very close read, where there...
Yosef says it wasn't you, it was God.
Well, maybe part of that, right? Well, we'll come back to that in a second. What's the other thing? So there's a more prosaic thing, which is that the brothers seem actually not to know where he is. Right? The Midrashim assume, right? The Midrashim talk about the brothers going to Mitzrayim and splitting up into different gates to look for him.
Right.
But the simple pshat is
They didn't know.
they didn't know. Right? Meaning it's a little bit weird. Right? Chazal talk about the brothers going down to Mitzrayim when they go for food and splitting up in the gates because now they're looking for Yosef because now they regret it. Now that's based on the assumption that they sold him to Yishmaelim and therefore they know
He's in Egypt.
That he was sold down to Egypt because Ishmaelim were going towards Egypt. But if they don't get there, then they literally have no idea where he went. And therefore, that's part of why they never even think about the possibility that it's Yosef in Mitzrayim, because if you knew he was in Egypt, right, now this person who knows so much about your family, right, you might start having questions. But if you don't know where he went at all, you don't know what happened. In fact, what does the Rashbam gain from this? That as far as they know, he might actually have been eaten by wild animals. That's actually what they think. Right? That's actually what they think. Because they left him in a pit and now he's not there. Right? So what's the best explanation? That he got devoured by wild animals. What the Rashbam gains is that they actually don't know what happened, and for all they know, they're telling the truth or what they think is the truth by the end. Now, and this is the point we made last year, is does the Rashbam take away guilt from the brothers?
Not really.
No, and that's what's most important about the Rashbam, is that the rest of Breshit continues to consider it as if they're responsible, which means that if the Rashbam is right, it's an actually more powerful lesson than if he's wrong, because
the fact that
they intended to sell him and that their actions led to him being sold in the eyes of Chumash means that they're responsible even if they never got around to it. Right? That's what emerges from the Rashbam, which is striking. Right? There are sort of pshat things that lead him there, but the theological message that emerges from it, that you're responsible for for the consequences of your action, even if you end up regretting it and want to change your mind and things like that. But at the end of the day, you're held responsible if what you did led to a certain action, and you intended to do evil, and you didn't get around to it. Right? Now, Chazal push back on this. Not in this story. In general, they think that Jews are not held responsible for actions that we haven't yet performed. Right? Hashem is not mitzarev machshav l'mahaseh. But if the Rashbam is right, Breshit is an example where that's not always the case. And that's why it is important to know whether this is true, besides for the pshat things that it explains in the story. Again, the other possibility is to say, no, right? The way you read this pronoun here is that they were involved in the sale to the Midyani, Ishmaeli, and then you have to wonder why we have so many levels, but, yeah.
Well, you could say that by throwing him into the pit, they were basically, in some sense, they were responsible.
Correct, that's exactly the message of Breshit, that even if they
might as well have sold him directly. Basically.
Correct. Now, I'll just add that you get the positive opposite as well, which is that Reuven gets schar in the eyes of the Torah for intending to go back and save him, even though he doesn't succeed. Right? Meaning it cuts both ways. Right? The Rashbam is right. The brothers are held responsible for selling him, even if they didn't actually do it. And Reuven gets a certain level of schar for saving his life and then intending to save him fully, even if he never got around to it. And the Torah recognizes both of those as theologically and religiously significant. Okay, good. We'll stop.